Hello and welcome to another edition of the Wirral Theatre Festival podcast with myself, Robbie.
And me, Craig.
And it's actually season 2, I suppose, isn't it? Because we've finished the festival now and we haven't been killed off. We're busier planning the second one. But for those who've not listened in before, I suppose we should give a brief introduction. So, Craig, do you want to tell them who you are?
I guess I would be one of the producers of the festival. Still.
Yeah, and my name's Robbie. I'm the other. We are co-producers. Basically, it came about because me and Craig wanted to do a play together. And I said, why stop at a play? Let's do a festival. And we did it, didn't we? I mean, fair play to us. We pulled it off.
Yeah, so wise, Robbie.
Don't think we had that many tears, did we? Tears of joy?
No one saw the tears.
No,
they were there.
There was tumultuous moments, I think. But you know what? I think that comes with any kind of endeavour like we've undertaken when there's just mainly the two of us taking the reins of it all. I think we do need to give ourselves a pat on the back that we pulled it off, and I think what the public saw was great. Obviously, behind the scenes, we've learnt an awful lot, haven't we, on what really works, maybe things that we can improve next time, and just learning to work with lots of other people.
Yeah, I think the main thing is we set out with like a mission statement to bring, new work to, the masses, I would say. And we did that, but we didn't know what it was going to cost us, our souls.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think my soul is still hanging on by a few threads. It's still there.
It's two threads.
I'm clawing it back. I'm like Peter Pan. I'll just sew it back on afterwards. I think what I really enjoyed was I enjoyed that we were able to find some new talent. I know we met the likes of Josh, who was in a couple of the plays. It was nice to meet some new actors because obviously both of us we're out of the circuit a little bit, aren't we? Because we've had muggle jobs, as they call them, and just getting ourselves on track with life. So I'm out of the circuit. I don't know how much you feel out of the circuit.
Oh, after this year, I'm 100% out of the circuit.
But I know you have done some classes in recent years. I mean, I'm completely off the beaten track.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I enjoy being creative. I enjoy writing. I really love being on stage. I enjoy the process. The parts of it that I don't enjoy is dealing with the types of people that you can interact with. Not everyone's a fun experience to work with, and that's, I guess, what makes being an actor really interesting.
Part and parcel of the creativity, isn't it? We all have different facets of it that we're really good at and other bits that frustrate us, I guess.
So we got the good, the bad and the ugly, just by definition of doing so many different projects all under one roof.
But I do think the festival as a whole was a success.
Oh, absolutely.
Proud.
We we did something that was bit more ambitious than we set out to do at the start, and we did manage to pull it off, and the feedback that we got was resoundingly positive.
Yeah, we got lots of nice things said. Sadly, we did get some people saying things like we would have come had we known about it. So I mean, I don't know what else we could have done personally to market it in its first year without throwing thousands of pounds that we don't have, by the way, at it. So it was sad to think that there were those who missed out on it because they weren't aware of it.
Yeah, visibility is probably the hardest thing. I think the second hardest thing is just, collaboration with people who are, let's just say they're used to being a part of the creative part of it, but not the marketing part. Yeah. So as we're trying to figure out how is the best way to push the work, and then maybe...
Well, the brand as well, isn't it? Because it all comes under that umbrella of the Wirral Theatre Festival.
Mm-hmm. So teething problems in certain places, but resounding successes in others.
I mean, we did 19 shows.
Yeah.
In 3 days.
We did.
And not one of them was empty. Some were fuller than others, but not one of them had an empty audience. They all got some audience.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some good conversations with the actors afterwards and some of the directors and writers, and one of the main feedbacks was they'd prefer to have a fuller room than worry too much about the splits and the shares and stuff. But when we went in, we had different expectations and stuff. So, with the modelling for moving forward, it seems to be more about exposure for people than it is about.
Well, that's it. I mean, for us, it's not about for the profit. It's not about the festival making a profit necessarily, but we invested our own private funds into it for the first year.
Sustainability.
And that's it, exactly. We just want it to pay for itself and maybe a little bit of extra that will just go into marketing, materials, any odds and sods that kind of will improve it year on year. So, I mean, we're kind of very much on board with that. So yeah, do you want to talk about the model that we're going for this year? Because last year we had basically you buy a ticket, every show, you come see it, done.com.
Yeah, so basically the Floral Pavilion, who we partnered with for our first year, they had never really put on an event of the size of what we had put on. They'd had shows that are obviously huge and much bigger, but
of course
not something that was so broad with its scope, and also so multifaceted with the bits that we brought.
The programming.
Yeah, so they'd never really done that before. So it kind of made things a little bit difficult for them. And it also made things difficult for us to be able to push the work, because we don't want to seem like we're prioritising one person's work over another person's work. So we kind of, there was just an awful lot going on. So we did, as you say, how many shows was it in the
19.
end? 19 shows across 3 days. And we ticketed them all separately. And the main thing that we found on the back end was most people who were coming to see people they knew, and they weren't buying on for a ticket to see new work.
Yeah,
so
come and see your friends, support your friends, and go home.
Yeah, and obviously that's an hour of time that was put aside, and we appreciated everyone that bought a ticket and came. This year, in order to try and make the reach more important and the exposure for people, and to try and foster that community, the thing that we pitch this year is we'll do it across more days, but we'll also have multiple shows on one ticket, so that they'll be shows that make sense together, but you'll be spending an evening
like a double bill.
Yeah, well,
or a triple bill,
or a triple bill,
the...
and you'll be rubbing shoulders with people that made the work and the intervals in between, and you'll also be able to see new work alongside the work that you've come to see.
Well, it does. I mean, I still love the idea of the individual shows, but I can see the merit in it, because it harks back to it, and I must remember to slow down. I talk so fast. It harks back to the kind of the idea of scratch night, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that these plays wouldn't be ready in their entirety, but for new work, quite often they do scratch nights where you'll see snippets or short plays all in one evening, and you pay for the evening, which is what you're proposing.
Yeah.
So I do get that.
It's one of those things where you want the value to be right, and you want also for people to have, as performers, like the experience that they deserve. So if they put the hard work in, you want them to have the audience, and
Of course.
they want the audience almost more than they want any kind of a financial gain from it. So
I mean, there's nothing worse than stepping on stage and seeing 10 people. When you compare that with stepping on stage and seeing 100 people.
Yeah, of course.
It's just awe-inspiring to see so many people have given up their own hard-earned time, because time is money.
Yeah.
To come and watch your project, or you personally.
I spoke to a lot of the actors, and that was the thing that they came away with, wishing that they had been able to have cooperated with us a little bit more to push their work. But at the same time, when I was speaking for feedback on my show, my show's a lot shorter than I would have liked it to have been, for a multitude of reasons, which we won't get into.
Whole podcast for stuff like that.
Yeah, we've got podcasts,
galore,
coming out of our ears for stuff like that. But mainly, people who come and watch my work, we used to have an evening, and they kind of got like the
full experience.
Yeah, the time slot of this was limited, so people came out and they kind of felt like that we're not used to such a small portion. They're used to having a full meal. So with regards to the next year, 2025, we're hoping that we can put together a program where everyone
satiate their appetites.
Yeah, so the ticket prices will probably be a little bit higher, but not.
But it'd be cheaper than buying 2 individual shows.
Yeah,
so it'd still be the cheaper
nowhere
option.
near as like if we were to do 3 shows on one night, it probably cost about a show and a half from the first year. But everybody would have a full audience, and then we'd have the opportunity for, to help the Floral maximise their potential for using the bar and stuff, because the turnover of people between plays didn't allow for that.
We had but we did have, people were at the bar when they were waiting for shows. I think we had 772 people across the 3 days. Don't quote me on that. Which, it could have been a lot more, but for a first year, I'm satisfied with that.
No, absolutely. It's about making sure that they have the full experience of what we can offer now. Not just getting them in the building. to see the one particular show, but coming to see the brand of the festival, and hoping that their artists and family and friends that they're coming to see is going to be kind of represented, and hopefully those people will come back and we can add.
That's it, and spreading the message. I mean, that's what I said to anyone was, look, if you can't make it, help us spread the word. That's the most important thing you can do, because people can't come if they don't know about it. You know, and it won't be for everyone. There's not many theatre. There's not lots of people who love the theatre, but there are, you know, niche of people who do like seeing new work, who do like seeing things that are based on localities close to them, which is one of the things we've tried to push, haven't we, where everything's got to have some kind of Wirral aspect where possible.
Yeah, well, the biggest problem with the first year and the miscommunication between us and the Floral was the Floral were treating this event like it was a small theatre show that was going on in the evening in the Blue Lounge, which, you know, they're used to having and housing, whereas the market for that particular show is kind of a certain demographic people. All the work that we kind of produced was more for what I would say is the everyman, not even the occasional theatre person. So the 700 plus tickets that we sold, I would say less than, you know, a third of those were people that would normally go to the theatre anyway, and the other ones were coming to see what their friends and family were up to. So we're kind of trying to integrate them into that space and make them feel comfortable. So it's about making sure that the ticket prices are right, that the experience is right, because it's not the same as buying a ticket to go and watch something in the main house.
No,
it's not a normal show in that context. It's very different, but it's a good opportunity for the Floral as well, because they can then, you know, promote work that they've got coming up to an audience that's not necessarily their usual.
Of course, and obviously there's all the community links, but I think we'll talk about them in another podcast probably, because we'll wrap up in a moment. But we're very much looking forward to having another crack at it and trying a different formula, you know, and there may not be a formula that works every single year, but I think it's important that we try. And this was Craig's idea, because I'm very OCD. I'll just be like, well, last year was okay, let's do it exactly the same as that. I can't veer off that. So I like being pushed out of my comfort zone, because this might end up being more successful in terms of numbers. Do you know what I mean?
We'll have more to give this year because it's spread out a little bit more.
I think so, and we've set a kind of at least a base of what to expect as a minimum, and hopefully we can obviously push through the ceiling of that. But currently we are just waiting, aren't we, for confirmation of new dates for next year. We're unable to have the same ones as last year, end of August, because I think something's already booked in. So we'll be looking for hopefully the middle of August. So if you haven't booked your holidays, don't book them for the middle of August if possible, because we'll have a festival to excite you all. But yeah, we'll update you next time on more of the goings on. And if you do like our podcast, do feel free to follow and subscribe to it. And you can find out more details. We are on Facebook, aren't we? We're on Twitter, or X as they call it.
Instagram.
You
can follow TikTok now?
We're kind of on TikTok. I've not really grasped that too much. We do have a YouTube channel as well. So do follow us on some different channels. And if you are a writer looking to submit a play for next year's festival, we'll be opening submissions very soon. So do feel free to get something in. Everything will be considered. And it's not that we're looking for certain levels of quality necessarily. We're looking for stories that will work and that will fit into kind of the programming that we're planning. So honestly, do feel free to submit anything, and we'll always look at every entry and see. We'll use as many as we can, quite often, won't we?
Be as open and ambitious as you can be.
Absolutely. So for now, it's goodbye from me, Robbie.
And goodbye from me, Craig.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
See ya.